The rain hammered against the windows of our small apartment in Seattle, mirroring the storm raging inside me. I'm Alaric, 46, an IT specialist, and until yesterday I thought I had a pretty good life. A loving wife, a comfortable home, and a job I didn't hate. What more could a guy ask for? It all started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Bronte, my wife of 15 years, a vibrant and successful marketing executive, began working later. Big project, she'd say, flashing that dazzling smile that always melted my worries away. I didn't question it. I trusted her implicitly. We'd built our life on trust, hadn't we? But then came the phone calls. Whispered conversations in the hallway, always when I was in the shower or engrossed in a game. She'd snap the phone shut the second I walked in, her cheeks flushed. Just work, she'd insist, her voice a little too high-pitched. I started noticing other things too. A new perfume, one I hadn't bought her. A different style of dress, more revealing than she usually wore. And then there was the change in our intimacy. The warmth had faded, replaced by a perfunctory peck on the cheek before she turned away to sleep. I tried to talk to her, but she'd brush me off. "You're imagining things, Alaric. I'm just stressed." I wanted to believe her. I desperately wanted to believe her. But the gnawing feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. Last week she told me she had a conference in Portland. 3 days, Alaric, I'll miss you. She kissed me goodbye and I watched her drive away, a knot tightening in my stomach. I should have let it go. I should have trusted her, but I couldn't. I spent the next 3 days in a state of anxious torment. I couldn't focus at work. I barely ate. Sleep was a distant memory. I kept replaying our conversations in my head, searching for clues, for some explanation for her behavior. On the third day, I made a decision. I know it sounds click, but I couldn't help myself. I told myself I was just being cautious, that I was just checking up on her. But deep down, I knew I was looking for something I dreaded finding. I drove to Portland. The rain followed me, as if the heavens were weeping in anticipation of what I was about to discover. I knew the hotel where the conference was being held. It even helped her pack. I arrived late in the afternoon. The lobby was bustling with people, all wearing name tags and clutching conference brochures. I spotted Bronte's name on the registration list and asked the receptionist for her room number. She gave it to me without hesitation. My heart pounded in my chest as I rode the elevator to the 10th floor. I walked down the hallway, my footsteps echoing in the silence. I stopped outside her door, my hand trembling as I reached for the handle. I hesitated for a moment, a sliver of hope clinging to the possibility that I was wrong. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The scene that greeted me is etched into my memory, a tableau of betrayal that will haunt me forever. Bronte was in bed, tangled in the sheets with another man. He was someone I recognized, Caius, her coworker, a slick, arrogant guy who had always made me feel uneasy. They were both naked, their faces flushed with passion. They didn't even notice me at first, lost in their sordid embrace. Then Bronte opened her eyes and her face drained of color. "Alaric," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Caius turned to look at me, a smirk playing on his lips. "Well, well, well," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "Look who decided to join the party." I don't remember much of what happened next. I know I yelled, screamed, and raged. I remember Bronte crying, begging me to forgive her. I remember Caius laughing, taunting me with his words. But mostly I remember the pain. A searing, agonizing pain that ripped through my heart, leaving me hollow and empty. I stumbled out of the room, blindly making my way back to the elevator. I didn't say a word to Bronte. I couldn't. I was too numb, too broken. I drove back to Seattle in a daze, the rain still pouring down, washing away the last vestiges of my hope. I spent the night pacing the apartment, replaying the scene in my head, trying to make sense of it all. How could she do this to me? How could she betray me so callously? I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just sat there, staring into the darkness, feeling the life drain out of me. In the morning, Bronte came home. She looked haggard, her eyes red and swollen. "Alaric, please," she said, her voice trembling. "Let me explain." I looked at her, at the woman I had loved and trusted for so many years, and I felt nothing. The love was gone, replaced by a cold, hard emptiness. "There's nothing to explain," I said, my voice flat. "It's over." She started to cry again, begging me to give her another chance. "It was a mistake, Alaric, I swear. It didn't mean anything. It meant everything to me," I said. It meant that everything I thought we had was a lie. I told her to leave. I told her I never wanted to see her again. She left sobbing, but I didn't feel anything. No anger, no sadness, just a profound sense of loss. The next few weeks were a blur. I filed for divorce. I moved out of the apartment. I tried to focus on work, but it was impossible. The pain was always there, a constant ache in my chest. I told a few of my friends what had happened. They were supportive, offering words of comfort and encouragement. But nothing could fill the void that Bronte had left behind. I started seeing a therapist. She helped me to process my emotions, to understand what had happened. She told me that Bronte's affair wasn't my fault, that I hadn't done anything to deserve it. I knew that intellectually, but it didn't make the pain any easier to bear. One day, my therapist suggested that I try to forgive Bronte. "Forgiveness is for you, Alaric," she said. "It's not about letting her off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the anger and resentment that are poisoning you." I thought about it for a long time. Could I forgive Bronte? Could I let go of the pain and move on with my life? I didn't know. Then, a few months later, I received a phone call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer it, but something told me I should. "Hello," I said. "Alaric, it's Caius." My blood ran cold. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice trembling. "I think you should know the truth about Bronte," he said. "I already know the truth," I said. "She cheated on me with you. That's not the whole truth," he said. "Bronte and we've been seeing each other for a lot longer than you think." "What are you talking about? We started having an affair about a year ago," he said. "She was planning on leaving you for me." I was stunned. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Bronte dumped me," he said. "She said she made a mistake, that she still loved you. She wanted to come back to you, and you're not happy about that." "I'm furious," he said. "I thought we had something special. I thought she loved me." "Well, you were wrong," I said. "She's a liar and a cheater. She doesn't love anyone but herself." "I know that now," he said. "But I thought you should know the truth." He hung up. I sat there for a long time trying to process what he had told me. Bronte had been planning on leaving me for months. She had been living a lie, pretending to be someone she wasn't. I felt a surge of anger, hotter and more intense than anything I had felt before. I wanted to hurt her, to make her pay for what she had done. But then something shifted inside me. I realized that I didn't care anymore. Bronte was irrelevant to me. She was a footnote in my life, a painful reminder of a mistake I had made. I decided to take my therapist's advice. I decided to forgive Bronte, not for her sake, but for mine. I knew that I would never forget what she had done, but I could choose to let go of the anger and resentment. I could choose to move on with my life. It wasn't easy. There were days when the pain was overwhelming, when I wanted to curl up in a ball and disappear. But I kept pushing forward, one step at a time. I started exercising again. I reconnected with old friends. I took up new hobbies. I started to feel like myself again. And then one day I met someone new. Her name was Isolde. She was kind, intelligent, and funny. She made me laugh. She made me feel alive again. We started dating, and I found myself falling in love. It was scary, opening myself up to someone again after what had happened with Bronte. But Isolde was patient and understanding. She helped me to trust again. One evening, Isolde and I were having dinner at a small Italian restaurant. The atmosphere was warm and intimate, and I found myself feeling incredibly happy. "I have something to tell you," I said, taking a deep breath. "What is it?" she asked, her eyes full of concern. I told her about Bronte, about the affair, about the pain and the betrayal. I told her everything. When I was finished, she reached across the table and took my hand. "I am so sorry, Alaric," she said. "That must have been awful." "It was," I said. "But it's over now. I've moved on." "I know," she said. "And I am so proud of you." She smiled at me, and I knew that I had made the right decision. I had forgiven Bronte, not because she deserved it, but because I deserved to be happy. A few weeks later, I received a letter from Bronte. It was a long, rambling apology, filled with regret and remorse. She said that she had made a terrible mistake, that she had hurt the only person who had ever truly loved her. She said that she understood if I could never forgive her, but she hoped that one day I would be able to find it in my heart to do so. I read the letter, and I felt a pang of sadness for her. She had thrown away something precious, something that she would never be able to get back. I didn't write back. There was nothing left to say. I burned the letter, watching the flames consume the last vestiges of my past. I turned and walked away into the future with Isolde by my side. Years passed. I married Isolde and we built a beautiful life together. We had 2 children, a boy and a girl. I never thought I could be this happy again. One day I was at a park with my children, watching them play on the swings. I saw a woman sitting on a bench nearby. She looked familiar, but I couldn't quite place her. Then she turned and looked at me and I recognized her. It was Bronte. She looked older, her face etched with lines of sadness and regret. She was alone. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should say hello, but then I decided against it. There was nothing left to say. I turned and walked away, back to my children, back to my life. I didn't look back. Bronte was a ghost from my past, a reminder of a painful chapter in my life, but she no longer had any power over me. I had forgiven her and I had moved on. I was finally free. Years later, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Bronte had never remarried. She lived a quiet, solitary life, haunted by the memories of her past. She had lost everything and she had no one to blame but herself. I felt a twinge of sympathy for her, but I didn't regret my decision. I had made the right choice. I had chosen to forgive, to move on, and to build a new life for myself. And in the end, that's all that mattered.